Hello! It's October now, so it's time to predict the Rotten Tomatoes scores for the next 3 months. I think this is just how I measure time now. Like every 3 months do one of these, and I know that the year is coming to an end. So basically, if you've not watched one of these before, I go through, pick a bunch of movies that are coming out in the next 3 months, try and guess what Rotten Tomatoes score they're gonna get. I've been planning on doing like analysis videos for like how close I actually get. Maybe I'll just do a big roundup at the end of the year, because I think each of the videos would be too small and boring to do on its own. So if I do them all together, at least like there's something going on. Quite a few of the ones that come out at the start of October already have Rotten Tomatoes scores, which is a bit annoying. I've been ill for like the last week and a half. I didn't have the chance to do one of these, which means I didn't get to predict that Venom was going to be bad before the Venom score came out, which is honestly the thing I'm saddest about. So anyway, here we go! Coming out on October 12th, it's Goosebumps 2, the second one. I can't remember what it was called. Haunted Halloween. I think the first one was also a Halloween movie. I've not watched it. It's Jack Black being Jack Black, I think. Did he put an accent on? I haven't seen this film. The first one got 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. They've switched the director for the second one. The new director is someone called Ari Sandel, who I hadn't heard of, but apparently they directed The Duff, which is that movie with Mae Whitman in. I've not seen that either. That got 71%. I guess this is gonna get 60%. Like, I don't think the director's bad. I just think like the idea for the movie's kind of weak, and like sequels, it's always gonna go downhill. So 60%. Going out in November, a lot of the interesting movies in October already have their scores out. So we're jumping straight to November. On November 2nd is Bohemian Rhapsody, which is the Freddie Mercury biopic, played by Rami Malek. I think he's a good actor, and the movie looks pretty good. However, directed by Bryan Singer, well-known creepy man, all over the place director. He can do some really good stuff, he can do some really bad stuff. On the good side of things, he directed X-Men Days of Future Past. Good movie, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I really enjoyed it. On the downside, he directed X-Men Apocalypse. I mean, it's enjoyable, it's a big mess, and it's very silly, and the tone is all over the place. I've put Bohemian Rhapsody somewhere in the middle. I think it's going to really focus on Rami Malek's performance, and I think he's going to be good. So I think it's going to get 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's going to be pretty good, and if you're into Queen, go see the film. Coming out on November 9th, it's The Grinch. I thought it was like a Christmas movie. November 9th. The Grinch is voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, who I've gone back and forth on a few times over the years. I'm now in the camp that he's like a good actor, and he just takes some weird roles. So I think he'll be trying his best. Previous like voice acting work, he did Smaug in The Hobbit. I don't know how you pronounce Smaug's name. And I think his performance was one of the better parts of that film. So I think he's going to do a good job as the Grinch. The original movie, 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. The original Grinch movie with Jim Carrey. I've not seen it. People like that film as like a Christmas movie. This new one's directed by Yarrow Cheney. Because it's an animated film, the director doesn't matter as much. But he did Rise of the Guardians, I think, which is in like the mid-70s. So I predict this movie's going to get 58%. It'll be fine. They don't make Christmas movies anymore, so maybe you can add this to your Christmas movie watch. Releasing on the same day as The Grinch, it's The Girl in the Spider's Web. Adaptation of the fourth Elizabeth Salander book. I actually have this book and have been meaning to read it for a while. It's not written by the same guy who did the first three, which was Stieg Larsson. This is by someone else. So I don't know how good it is compared to the other ones, and if that would reflect poorly on the movie. I think the Fincher Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movie that came out did very well review-wise. I think that was like a 91%. This reboot is directed by someone called Fede Alvarez. He's known for horror movies. He did the Evil Dead remake a few years ago, and he also did Don't Breathe, and that movie was pretty good. So, Evil Dead got 62%, Don't Breathe got 88%. I'm predicting this is going to get 72%. It's a bit outside of his comfort zone, because he's used to making horror films, and it's an adaptation. It's a bit out there, but I think it'll be alright. Coming out on the 16th of November, it's Fantastic Beasts 2. The Crimes of Johnny Depp, directed by David Yates. He's done all the Harry Potter films since Order of the Phoenix, and he did Fantastic Beasts as well. It's fairly consistent in the 70s and 80s on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I don't think he's a bad director, I just think all the movies are very bland. In the Harry Potter films, I think Prisoner of Azkaban was like very interesting and different from everything else. And Goblet of Fire was like pretty good, and then Order of the Phoenix was just kind of like dark and serious and boring, and that kind of carried on for the rest of it. I thought Fantastic Beasts 1 was okay. That got 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. I really didn't like the trailer for Fantastic Beasts 2. I think the whole Grindelwald plot is very silly. I think the fact that Nagini is getting a backstory and she used to be a lady is very stupid. So personally, I'm not interested in the film. I think it's gonna review okay. I think it's gonna get like 62%. It'll be fine. On the 21st of November, it's Wreck-It Ralph 2 Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's not a good name for the film. The first Wreck-It Ralph got 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a fun movie. It's a Disney movie. Like, they're all pretty good. The trailer for the sequel is a bit messy. There's a lot of like, there's Star Wars, you know what Star Wars is. Here's the Disney princesses, you know them. Like, it's a lot of references. There's a couple of moments in the trailer where they just like show the Amazon logo really huge, and like, oh look, there's the Facebook logo. I don't know how to feel about it. I think it's gonna be a capitalist hellscape. The movie will probably be fine. I'm thinking 71% that's what I've written down. I think it'll be around there. Releasing on the same day, it's Creed 2. The first Creed movie was very good. Directed by Ryan Coogler. You know him from directing Black Panther, which was also really good. Different director for this film. Ryan Coogler's obviously busy writing Black Panther 2, 3, 4 or 5, however many they're gonna make. That movie made them so much money, they're gonna make so many Black Panther movies. So the new director is Stephen Capel Jr. He previously directed a movie called The Land. I think that was quite a low budget thing. That reviewed okay, got 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think Creed 2 is gonna get 70%. It's gonna drop a lot from the first film, just because with the sequel there's not as obvious a story to tell. It might be reaching a little bit. I think it's still going to be okay though. I think Sylvester Stallone is still in it, and they've still got Michael B. Jordan in the lead. So yeah, I think it's going to be very good. And also on the same day, it's Robin Hood. Someone's making a Robin Hood movie. That's a new and exciting concept. It's got Taron Egerton in it from Kingsman. The director is a TV director. He's not done any movies before, but he's done some good TV shows. His name is Otto Bathurst. So the last Robin Hood movie was the 2010 Russell Crowe one. I actually saw that movie in the cinema, and I can't remember anything about it apart from there was a dude with a bird, and I think Cate Blanchett was in it, and they were stood on an ice lake at some point. That movie got 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. It wasn't great. And before that, it was Prince of Thieves, which they show every Christmas on TV. It got 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's worth watching for Alan Rickman's performance, that's probably about it. I think the new Robin Hood is gonna be bad. I don't see a reason to make it. They're trying to make a cinematic universe because everyone's gotta have one. I think it's gonna be not good. I think it's gonna get 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, and they're not gonna make a franchise out of it because no one cares. Coming out on the 23rd, and I've only chucked this on here because I really love the director. It's The Favourite, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. He directed The Lobster, which was a really good film, and he also directed The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which was a really good film. If you have the means to watch those, I definitely recommend it. They're not going to be for everyone. There's a very distinctive style to his movies. Everyone speaks very matter-of-factly, and there's not a lot of emotion to it, but there's some really good like black comedy in there, so I really recommend those. The Lobster got 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Killing of a Sacred Deer got 80%. I think The Favourite is going to get 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a period movie, it's got some good actors in it. I think it's gonna be great, and I can't wait to see it. Although knowing my luck and the place that I live, they're not going to show it in any cinema near me. So I'll see it when it comes on Netflix or when it's out on DVD. Coming out on December the 7th is Mary Queen of Scots. I think the movie looks pretty good. Historic accuracy wise, it might be a little bit off, but they're playing up for the drama of it. I think Saoirse Ronan is really great. I think Margot Robbie can give a great performance, so I think it's going to be worth it for their performances alone. I'm not sure about the rest of the movie. The director is someone called Josie Rourke. She has previously been a theatre director, so I think the move from theatre to cinema is going to be a bit of a tricky one, but I think it'll probably be pretty good. I'm predicting it's going to get 82%. It's going to be one of them Oscar movies. Gonna get nominations for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. Maybe Best Costumes as well. Like, the costumes look pretty good. I think it's gonna be a good movie. Coming out on December 14th, it's Mortal Engines. You know that book? I feel like it's a bit late to be making this movie. We've had the rise and fall of young adult novel adaptations. Harry Potter started it, and it kind of died after the Hunger Games finished, and like there's a few stragglers left over. Like they had to finish off doing the Insurgent series or whatever, Divergent, and they had to finish off Maze Runner. Mortal Engines is coming in a little bit late, no one cares anymore, and Mortal Engines is an old book. Like I remember reading that when I was in school. It's not like the big new hot thing. It's been around for a while, and I don't know if anyone's excited for this movie. The director is someone called Christian Rivers, who seems to have come out of nowhere. I've not seen any previous work by him, so I'm just chucking out a number, 55%. It's an interesting book, just world building wise, which will be cool to see on screen. It's also going to be very difficult to transfer from book to screen, because like there's some mad stuff going on. Some of it will work, some of it will not work. Coming out on the same day, it's Into the Spiderverse. Spider-Man, I forgot what the actual title of it is. It's Into the Spiderverse. There's 3 credited directors on this, and they've all like worked on animated films before, so there's a lot of experience going into this. I think the animation style is really amazing. Like they've got different styles for each of the different Spider-Men, which I think is really cool. There's a really good voice cast. The trailer looks really good, like the animation's really fluid, and I'm really excited for it. I don't know if it's gonna get messy, like, because it's like all about different dimensions and stuff, but I think they're gonna do a decent job of it. My prediction is 85%. That might just be because I'm looking forward to it though. So we'll see. Coming out on December 19th is Mary Poppins Returns. Good cast. I like Emily Blunt a lot. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to be great. The director is Rob Marshall, who is a little bit all over the place, but his musical movies are good and his other movies are bad. So if they properly lean into the Mary Poppins musicalness of it, I think it's going to be good. So Rob Marshall previously directed Chicago, which was a pretty good movie, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. He also did Into the Woods, which was a lot of fun. That got 71%. He also directed Pirates of the Caribbean 4 on Stranger Tides, which was a big mess. That got 32%. We're going to ignore that. I think this movie is going to be good if they focus on the musical aspects of it. So my prediction is 78%. Please make the movie good. I like Mary Poppins. Coming out on the 21st of December, it's Aquaman. The DC universe is still going, even though it's lost Batman and Superman. Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck are not doing these movies anymore. I mean, at least we've still got Wonder Woman, the one character with a good movie. I've been a bit generous with Aquaman. It's directed by James Wan. You'll know him for like being the mastermind behind the Conjuring cinematic universe. And the Conjuring movies have turned out okay. So the first Conjuring I think was like 79%. The second one was like 86%. He also directed Fast and Furious 7, which got 80%. So James Wan can direct a good movie. That's not in question. He can do horror movies, he can do action movies. Aquaman's going to be more of an action movie, so he'll be leaning on his Fast and Furious experience. The DC universe has some bad films in it. Justice League got 40%, and people were into that because it was way better than the other movies. So I feel like Aquaman might be okay. My prediction is around 65%. I think the worst stuff in the film is going to be the stuff tying it to the rest of the universe. The new stuff will be the good part of it, and hopefully they don't, like, I don't know, have Will Smith turn up as Deadshot. What are you? Some kind of Aquaman? Yeah, that would be really bad. Keep it simple, James, please. Thoughts and prayers. Coming out on the same day, it's the Bumblebee movie. I've not been quiet about the fact that I'm hopeful for this film. All the other Transformers movies are hot trash. They're just a big garbage fire. The last one was Transformers The Last Night. It got 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. I've not watched it. I've watched all the other ones. When I watched Age of Extinction, I thought I might die. It was so long and nothing happened for the whole film. The hope for Bumblebee is that it's going to be a smaller story, it's not going to be a big mess of robots punching each other, and it's directed by Travis Knight, who directed Kubo and the Two Strings, which is a movie that I really love. Here it is. It's an animated film, stop motion animation. It's really beautiful, it's really cute. I think if we can get Bumblebee doing something similar, it's going to be really good. So my prediction is 80%. I think Haley Steinfeld's great. I think the trailer looks good compared to Transformers films. And I think the director is good. Fingers crossed. Please, Travis, save us from Michael Bay. Finally, on the 21st of December, that's the same day as these other two, it's Holmes and Watson, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. I don't even know why I put this on the list. I think it's gonna be very bad. I was a bit confused when I looked at the director and saw that it was a man named Ethan Coen. You're not fooling anyone by tricking us into thinking it's a Coen Brothers movie. He previously directed Get Hard, also starring Will Ferrell. It was very bad, 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. I predict that this film's gonna get 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. No one's gonna care. There's too much Sherlock in the universe now. The same problem as Robin Hood. I don't know how you're gonna keep the interest in this. Maybe there'll be some fun, like, period-themed jokes. That's all I've got. So there you go. My preemptive reviews of a whole bunch of movies. I'll put them all up on the screen so you can screenshot it and yell at me when I get it wrong. I've been very generous this time. Usually I have a bunch of them under 50%, but this time I've only got that Holmes and Watson movie and Robin Hood. So hopefully we have a lot of good movies in the end of the year. I think I was going off US release dates rather than UK ones, so I might not even get to see some of these. Yeah, we're hopeful. We're hopeful for some good films. Thanks for watching me just ramble for like ages. If you've got any predictions, if you want to tell me that I'm going to be wrong about anything, if you think that Robin Hood film is just going to be great, let me know. I mean, you could be right. I think Taron Egerton is like an okay actor. It could be good. If not, I'll see you in like 3 months. Bye!